Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8.52. Okay, let's continue with this. Mountain HQ is good. That'll give us a little more flexibility. Yeah, we'll go with that. Good. Cool picture. Sure thing. And move on. Good. We're moving slowly in. Is it weather? Let's work on it in the volts here. Yeah, mud 87%. Okay. We will suppress them. Okay, well, let's see. First there. Oh, I'll send these guys up here, bash the Irish some more. Let's see if the headquarters would win. No, not so. And motorized HQs. What's the other one? Oh, featuring radio. Yeah, do that. Another one, so Okay. We would welcome Tibet on board, though I don't think it will or fully get on board with us, but would be nice. At least keep them out of the Axis would be good. I was looking down here and thinking that I think this is a choke point, so if I get enough forces I can move something maybe here and get a choke point and cut off Japanese attacks. Don't know. Okay, more fun. Bashing the locals. This is a bit overdoing it, but okay. They can win against the rebels, just the headquarters. Oh, good. Well, these guys can come down on the mountains and attack here. Our desert rancer. Moving up the desert. Well, yeah, it's the desert out there. Not the western desert. Cool, yep, we need this. Well, I don't know if we need it, but it helps it to be useful. Uh-oh. Bye-bye, Czechoslovakia. The wars are coming. Huh. Yeah, we want to do this. Guarantee independence of Poland. Poland accepts. In my opinion, this is, as we've been talking about, a move that happened too late. Hitler didn't believe it. So right now, let's just say Obama came out and gave a speech that said, if you attack Germany, we will defend it. And do you really think Putin would go, yeah, Obama means that. I'm sure he means that. If we decided to attack Germany, he would definitely send in U.S. armored divisions and have carriers do carrier strikes into Russian territory and all this stuff. I'm sure Putin would think he means it. Now maybe might be that he actually would think that if he said so on Germany. But would he mean it on Poland? Would he think he meant it if it was Poland, or if it was the Ukrainian capital, not just some border thing? It's just, even if he does, and I'm not saying he wouldn't mean it, but you just no longer believe it. So, excuse me. Hitler wanted his training war. Hitler really, and I've looked into this fairly deeply, Hitler wanted a training war, sort of like what Italy had in Abyssinia, Ethiopia, whatever you want to call it. That was their training war. They got out there, they fought. It was also, in Spain, was also Italy's training war that they sent a few divisions worth into Italy. Oh, yeah, that's not good to the Republic. It's all those units shown up there. I wonder if those are meant to be anti-nationalists. Figuring nationalists may be winning it. I don't know. Hitler wanted a training war like that. He really wanted it. He wanted a war. He actually really, really wanted a war with Czechoslovakia. But what he wanted was just a war with Czechoslovakia, not a war with Britain or France. That scared him. When Britain and France backed down, that was sort of okay. But what wasn't okay was he didn't want, and it was on the advice of Chamberlain to the Bernays, the Czech president, that he should give in. He wanted the Czechs not to give in so he could have a war with Czechoslovakia after the Western Allies gave in. That's what he wanted. That's why there were no Czech representatives at the Munich crisis. There were none in the room. It was, what do they think about it? Hitler didn't care what they thought about it because he thought he was going to have a war with them. He just wanted to keep primarily the British and the French out, but wanted to keep everybody else out and just to have a sort of private war with Czechoslovakia. And that didn't work out. He wanted his next private war because he was engineering it. I know on the forums he said the war, and looking at it, Danziger War. Danzig was, at this time period, Danzig was Germany's the moment Germany wanted it. The population, I think 70 to 80% of the population was pro-German. There was a significant SS unit up in Danzig. There was a significant SA units operating openly in Danzig. Much of the city was festooned in swastikas. All it would have taken was for a local uprising of Germans that could have happened the minute that Hitler wanted it. Because those SA and SS particularly, but also the SS particularly, but also the SA would have immediately on orders of Hitler done a local uprising with them. And the very small Polish troops in the post office and a few other barrack situations would have been immediately surrounded and completely outnumbered. And at least I know the SS, maybe the SA as well, were as good or better armed than the Poles in the city, than the soldiers. That the Poles could not have fought their way out of their own barracks. They might have been able to hold out in their barracks, but that only lasts until you run out of food. And so either they would have to give up, or Poland would have to send in troops, from outside of Danzig, because Danzig was a free city. That did have some Polish troops stationed in per part of the agreement. As soon as they come in, Germany can also send in troops to defend the free city of Danzig, the people of Danzig, from Polish aggression. And even if you do go to war, generally speaking, fine, it would look like Polish aggression, not German. Or two, I really think at that point Poland would have backed down, or would have just been clashes inside the city of Danzig between German troops and Polish troops. And I don't think Poland was ready to send in division after division to defend Danzig. It would have sent in some released troops that then would have gotten shot up, and then they probably would have negotiated the withdrawal of Polish troops. So Danzig, the minute that almost literally the day Hitler wanted Danzig to be German, it would have been German. Hitler didn't want that because Hitler wanted the exacerbating influence of conflict, to have a conflict with Poland. What he demanded was, and as if you've watched the series or played Third Reich Events, my last series, he wanted the Danzig corridor. He wanted a corridor right through here, maybe including here. He was going to leave Gdynia out of it. And it was just going to sort of, what he was demanding was just sort of right in this area here. I think he wanted more, but that's what he was demanding. And that he was going to set up a sort of an overlapping route that Poland could still get without German interference, going through German customs or whatever, train and maybe a road connection to a port for Poland. So Poland could have this smaller port that they built. They built this sort of, because this is obviously in this game inside Poland, but really this was the Polish naval port of Gdynia. It was built for Poland to have a seaport for commerce, yes, but a lot of it still flowed through Danzig. Mostly it was so that Poland could have a naval port out here. So that's what it had been built for. So that could stay Polish. Germany would have this corridor to have a land connection that would be undisputably German. That's what they were wanting, agitating for. And that's what the war was fought out. Now Hitler didn't want them to give in. Hitler wanted the war, but he wanted the training war. Since they had backed down, as he saw it, France and Britain, twice now. Once primarily over the Sudetenland, second time once they just gobbled up the rest. Now they sort of engineered it with Slovakia breaking away, and sort of Germany come in to sort of be peacekeepers, if you will, or whatever. So they sort of had a fig leaf of cover, but saw that the Allies did not interfere with that. Memo, which hasn't happened here yet, but that really wasn't a British interest or backing down of the Western Allies, because they just didn't care about Memo, but they did care about the power relations with Poland. So Hitler wanted only a war with Poland, feared greatly a war with the Soviet Union, feared that the Soviets would react badly if there was going to be German forces on their border along here. So that's why they did the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact. Hitler feared a wider war. He just no longer believed, particularly Chamberlain. Why was I thinking Halifax? Chamberlain, and knew that France was a largely divided country that didn't have a will for an offensive operation by this time. He still wanted a war with them, but only when he was ready. So this is where Britain makes a calculated mistake. They guarantee the independence of Poland after backing down over the independence of the stronger, in my opinion, although position-wise weaker, but army and military production type elements, stronger Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia was doing okay so long as Austria was independent and somewhat hostile to Germany, and that was sort of somewhat fueled by Mussolini's fear of Germany, wanting to keep Austria as a buffer zone. But once that went away, then Austria was in it. Then Czechoslovakia was in a world of hurt. But up until that point, Czechoslovakia was doing well, and it was the nation that saw the war coming and prepared. But unfortunately, everyone let them down. So, I would say that although at this time we definitely see Britain gearing up more and more for the coming conflict, they were unprepared, and this is primarily Britain, but France as well, were unprepared for a war with Germany. So since they guaranteed Polish independence, they, in essence, I think, thought that would stop Hitler, because only a crazy person would want World War II. We can discuss whether Hitler was a crazy person or not, as in out of touch with reality. By the end, I mean, we all know he was a nut job, but out of touch with reality. By the end, in his Führer bunker, he most assuredly was out of touch with reality. But I'm talking about how realistic are his, touch with the world. At this time, he had his nut job beliefs, but he was very much still in touch with the realities of the world. So only a crazy person, they thought, would want a general war. So this would stop them. Like I said, Hitler no longer believed that. Mussolini was still sort of in this unsure period. So they guaranteed Poland. Now this was before the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, so you get to see the Soviets looking like they were for sure coming in on the other side. And that was sort of a secret clause, the dividing of Poland, but it's still the non-aggression pact and trade agreements and all that under Molotov really Molotov-Ribbentrop really shook everybody, and sort of showed what was coming. And so they thought by shoring up, guaranteeing Polish independence, that they were securing a flanking ally for a two-front war. What they were, of course, is guaranteeing the war to start earlier than they were ready and earlier than Hitler was ready. You can argue whether ultimately the timing worked out, but which was better, and for do we want to push things, and we're going to, but in my opinion, at this point, and this is my opinion, the only thing that could have really showed Hitler's as they were serious was an expeditionary force. I would have immediately started shipping over fighters and other things like that for Polish use. I would have raised at least a sacrificial 3 divisions, but probably, if I could put it together, 6 divisions, and set them sort of in the Polish corridor, or the Danzig corridor, somewhere in there, and put a significant RAF presence, as well as just sending over other war material, to really sort of show that, and also at this time force France to send over at least 6 divisions into Poland, to show that if you are going to war, you will be fighting Polish and French troops. So you know that you're going to be doing that. I think that would have delayed Hitler significantly. Whether he would have just accepted taking Danzig, but I think he really wanted the irritant of that to be the casus belli. So I think it would have delayed the war by 6 months to 2 years, because Hitler would have maybe felt that they would still back down once the fighting started, but maybe not. But he'd have to be more ready for the war. I think that is the only thing you could do. So I think it was a wrong decision probably to guarantee its independence. And now once you did it, you had to stick by it, because then if you didn't, then are you guaranteeing the independence of Belgium, the Netherlands, or anywhere else? And if you back down more times, it's going to back down, so it just becomes more and more of a problem. I would have skipped the guarantee of Poland and started to very openly work with getting these guys better armed. Is what I would have done. There was a mission to the Soviet Union at the time, during this time. I cut it. I did the graphics for it. Found some photos of a very high-ranking mission to the Soviet Union by British officials trying to create a British-Soviet pact. This was going on at the same time the Molotov-Ribbentrop talks were going on. It was, I think, a fairly close thing to which way the Soviets were going to go. I think some of the, and I'm trying to remember some of the details, they would have had to allow Soviet pushing, I think, into Romania and a few other things that probably Britain wouldn't have done, but maybe because it just needed. And the reason I cut it is none of it was going to be seen by the Third Reich events German player, and I was going to have to code it because of the demands that the Soviets were putting on, and I don't remember all of them right in my head right now, were so great that I don't think Britain would accept. So it would have all been a mechanic happening that nobody would have seen, and so it was wasted on Third Reich events. It's something that I do plan for my British events, that when I make it, that would allow Britain to preempt the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, set up a pact with the Soviet Union, but they have to give in on a lot of other things. So you would be really hard pressed to decide yes or no on it. But it should be up to a human, not something I would never let the AI choose. Just a bit much. I have to look into that. So it's something when I get to King and Country events, it's something you'll see. But when can't say much, but man, trying to convert over to Hearts of Iron 4 has been really an exercise in frustration for me. I wish I could share more of it, but it's been a real frustration for me. If any of you are in the Hearts of Iron 4 beta, you can contact me there and I'll talk to you there about it. But it just converting stuff is frustrating. I can say that. And because I really want to do a good job, and I really want to come out something like Third Reich events for Hearts of Iron 4, but it's just frustrating. But so there's a lot to do there. So still working on it. But it's good to get out and get my mind clear and try to play this. So you will see that someday, hopefully. But so this way we get our allies and our way into war. Unfortunately, it's another AI ally with a severe problem. Super big borders, stupid AI, and can't make their mind up as to what to defend. Meaning if they were to, I don't know, defend a core around here, some rivers and other things, something like that. Not that they wouldn't lose. Well, I don't know versus the AI, but not that they wouldn't lose, but they at least have a real fighting chance. Especially with a good human player, either as France or as Germany. Deep Standard. So it looks like they're all shifting other places, which will help us. Okay, decryption machine advanced. Good, good, good. And medium armor designs. Okay. Those are way too advanced to research now. Cobra not yet for the 39 technologies. All will be camouflage designs. Let's do close air support. So our alliance is growing. Which that part's a good thing. This outbreak of rebels is going to help the nationalists considerably. I think you can always see it there. They're going to have to shift forces to deal with them, even minor forces. Up to there. Uh-oh. Some of you guys up. Go take out the Bedouins hanging out there. Okay. Fighter ground crew training. Okay, we're at 39, so that's good. We'll do more. Those are all looking pretty good. Okay. Gun turrets. You look at something like this, yeah, there's resources and stuff up here, but I just totally abandoned this whole section. Minimum. Just get out from there. Okay, we give them crude oil for money. Yeah, that would be nice. Supply transportation, that's good. Oh, we can improve float planes. And yeah, I probably even abandon all of this area just automatically. Just like I say, just go in and find that. And at minimum, if I thought the Soviets were going to stay out of it, some sort of border right along like this would be what I would do. Just abandon this whole western part, the whole Danzig corridor. Just come around there and try to hold out. If I knew the Soviets were coming in, I'd make a tighter circle. Which one was this again? Oh, supply organization. Yeah, the Navy's looking all right. Have any of you ever noticed, yeah, I'm going to talk a little modern politics here, but have you ever noticed that if you start watching Trump speeches, look at his gestures. They're very, and especially his facial ones, and the way he moves his head. They're very reminiscent of Mussolini. Very different than Hitler, but very reminiscent of Mussolini. And it's just really weird to watch your nation go. I'm sure that there's some Trump supporters watching this, because he tells it like it is, which he doesn't, but that's what he says. And they're just all fed up. I agree. They're all fed up with the political system. I'm not arguing that point. But he just seems to move a lot. You go look on YouTube some Mussolini speeches. His whole mannerisms are very much reminiscent, not just the same, but very similar to Mussolini. Okay, we will increase guidance. I was noticing that. A lot of the chin up thing. He's sticking his chin up in the air. Okay, yeah. We'll get there fastest that way. New attack. No. Rare materials refining. So if you're looking like I was saying, look at this last episode, if you look at something like that and look at that as synthetic replacing natural, that's very accurate. Not exact percentages, but okay. The standard branch infantry upgraded. For some reason my mouse isn't flowing as well as it should. Okay, there we go. That's better. What? Oh, like I said, it wasn't flowing, right? Supercharger on our aircraft. Good, but what next? What are you doing? Bomb sites, no jets at the moment. A lot of stuff I want to start researching next year. Oh, naval. Getting that down fairly quick there, which is what I want to do. Everybody's mobilizing their armies. Well, not everybody, but a bunch of people are. Germany's still fairly weak. There's a big stack. Fortunately, at least for a while, it'll move a lot of units off of here, it looks like. Well, Tibet's getting too close to us, so they decided to stop. No, thank you. Good, we've taken out those guys. Right. Well, now that they've taken them out, hopefully they'll be able to push back against this growing... And they move their capital back to Burgos. That doesn't look good for us. Thought it'd be interesting to have Republican Spain on their side. Encryption machine makes it harder to see us. Okay, cool. What is this? Light infantry, right? It's light infantry. Yes. Good, now we're getting into the larger bunch, which will help us even more. Well, we're not doing that just yet. Almost down out of that into no descent. Okay, well, we've gotten India almost all cleaned up. Okay, interception tactics. Let's do these. War of the Worlds. At least this is the first big splash that I knew that Orson Welles made. He was a genius, but not too in touch with popular culture as he might like to think. All of his great movies sort of bombed. They've become cult classics, but and because they're really great movies, but they didn't meet with great popular demand. And I've seen a much later sort of dramatization of what happened, that the people really freaked out because at the beginning of the radio program he said that this there was an announcement that this was a pure radio drama for Halloween, but a lot of people tuned in to the program after that announcement. And then once they started to hear this very realistic dramatization of these aliens coming down, which was sort of picked up with the Men in Black series. But obviously there wasn't so much the war then, but another thing. that this people would like call each other, on the phone. Have you listened to the radio? They're invading us, and they got all over the Northeast because I think the broadcast was mostly. Now, of course, this is where most of the people lived in America at the time. It was very high densely populated, but up here that really, really panicked everybody. And he didn't mean it to do that. That was nothing for him. He just wanted a scary Halloween drama. He didn't want people to panic at all, but it sort of backfired in that sense, but made him a very popular, well, very well-known name. Maybe not popular at that moment, but very well-known. Okay, and we can do some more research. Let's do that, and there we go. Well, I think this is a good point to end this episode. Thanks so much for watching the series. I do appreciate it. Please like the videos as well. And, of course, love hearing your comments. See you next time.